All right, welcome back to the Cryptic Zeus Smite League. And today we have some freaky deaky little prospects coming at you or before the season starts. And today are some Amazon prospects, and I'm joined by my favorite, dirtiest of bubbles, Dirty Bubble 690. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. You forgot to mention that I'm also the owner of the Food Fighters org. Come join.
Well,
Self
I'm
plug.
also an Oregoner, so coinciding right there.
No, my
So,
org's better. But anyways,
oh,
let's get back to talking about the players in this game. Chargo, who do you think is gonna stand out?
I think there are quite a few names that stand out. This is a really stacked list of players. You have the best Gary and Evelyn in ADC, which those are two amazing ADCs for this division. You have Deathly Shriek, King's Bishop, Apti, Natosa. There's a lot of really heavy hitters in this game. What are your opinions on it?
Well, see, I agree with you most part. Apti's kind of stinky, not gonna lie,
Okay.
but
Isn't
it's
that your
still like
captain?
he's solid. I'm really looking forward to see what comes out of these other players that I don't know that much about. We got
Mhm.
Dreadful, you got this Tabasco sauce guy, DJ. Like I'm just looking forward to see what they all do.
There is no way you pronounce that as Dize. Dies.
I think he corrected me the other day and said it wasn't Dice, it was DC.
I I don't believe you.
I'll pull
And
up the
that's
SS dog.
I I I won't. I will not be looking at the SS. But uh with a lot of this kind of shakeup happening, we if we're looking at recent pro play, we're seeing a lot more assassins in mid. Do you think that we see that down here in these prospects, or do we think that's just gonna be something saved for a lot higher level of player? Or do we think we'll see it, seep down, drip down to this level?
I don't think we'll see it drift down to this level. People and the first of all, it's a prospect game, so people usually pick what they're comfortable with or what's
Hmm.
very broken right now. And I
Hmm.
think that a lot of people aren't used to playing assassin mid yet, so they're liable to feed. So they'll pick like safer picks, like Baba Yaga, the huge Wang,
Right.
and all those other good mid laners. I think we'll see like one assassin in each
Okay.
team.
That that's honestly very low. I expected a lot more assassins. I thought even if it's a prospect, because I will say these prospects are really good scouting methods for us. But looking at the support for that chaos side, me and you both know him very well. He's a little bit of a character sometimes with these things. I think we'll see something rather spicy coming out the support lane. Something I do think that will be very standard though is the solo lane. Talk to me a bit about the solo lane matchup.
Solo lane matchup. Well, you see, you got one of the lamest players ever in Apti. He's gonna just play a god. He's gonna clear wave and then center tower. Then you got King Bishop. I typically know him as a support player, so it's gonna
Mhm.
be interesting how he works in solo. I know he likes that Guan Yu, his hurt, but I think he's gonna go that Warriors Axe Blackthorn build, and after he's gonna just sit on a tower.
Yeah, a lot of the picks I associate with Apti in the solo lane are lot of those Cthulhu's, or there's just those characters that don't really lose lane, but they never really win it either. So I think it'll be a very interesting matchup where I think Apti is forced to go pressure or some way to alleviate it. If he's going to be laning against Bishop, who, like you said, is going to be favoring those Hercules, those Guans, where you can't really give pressure to them because if you give them an inch, they're going to take the whole mile into a team fight. And then for this mid lane, that's where a lot of my questions are coming from. Last time I saw Eob, he was in solo lane and he was killing it there. So I kind of am excited to see this mid lane matchup. Give me your thoughts on Natosa because I think you've played with Natosa much more than I have.
Yeah, I played a bunch of games with Natosa. It's usually me playing Vom in jungle, and Natosa playing that something that gets killed by Vom in jungle. So that's the way it works out a lot of time. But another thing about Natosa is that I kind of only know him for a couple picks, so I'd be surprised if we don't see like a
Mhm.
Merlin, a Scylla, or a huge Wayne come out of this mid laner for on the order side.
Mhm. Yeah, it's very weird because I remember Discordia in that God pool, but I don't know. There's so many mid laners in life, but I think that I agree that we're probably going to see A lot more of these like standard safer picks, characters that will get to their late game and just do it better than the other person. And then this ADC one, I was saving this one because I'm actually very excited to talk about this one. So the best carry and Evelyn are two players who are not ADCs but are in ADC, and they're pretty bloody good at it. Talk to me a bit about that one. What are your thoughts? What do you expect to see from this lane in this prospect?
I know you just didn't go British on me there for whatever reason. I think that's cultural appropriation. We'll
I
talk
hey,
about that later. We'll talk about that later. But the best Gary, more like the best carry in his division, he's probably gonna beat Crow here. And Crow's a good player and he's a solid player. Crow should put up a fight, but the best carry should like just diff him. Honestly, he's the best carry. That's his name.
I I honestly disagree with you on that one. I think that this will be very close because these are two very aggressive players. Crow is a W key or nothing player, and especially when you have Deathly Shriek in your support, you are W king by choice or not, and it's just so fortunate that Evelyn just likes the W key. So I think that this matchup will be very close, and it's all about, can Gary survive the W key? Can he not get W keyed? That is the big question. And I think some of that comes down to the support, and then a lot of it comes down to the 1v1, where both of them being junglers, they very familiar with just being able to 1v1 dump your kit, try to just blow up the other person. Uh, and then I think our biggest question marks are in the jungle, though. I don't know either of these junglers. What do you expect to see out of that then? Like, do you?
Well, as stated, don't know any of these jugglers. For all I know, we could see a Capri v Morgan jungle. Like it's a prospect game. There's a reason why these things are played. I don't know these players. And
Mhm.
for those of you watching at home, we're gonna say Crow at sometimes. That is Evelyn.
Yeah,
Okay, Chargo let it slip already, so I was gonna try to call him Evelyn all the time, but that's Crow.
that is
Okay,
correct. Yeah,
not European Crow. That's a different Crow, and not like high level Crow either. and
there's a lot of crows. Like, I
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, that's very common. Like,
Well, do you know why though?
I don't.
So what happens is that they're all from Baltimore, okay, and their all favorite writers are Edgar Allan Poe, okay. And do you know what the crows? It's like are similar to ravens, okay.
That was a
And
roundabout way you could segue that back into itself.
well, we started the stream early, so we don't even know if the game has started yet. So we got to talk about something.
That is true, but that's I I just don't even like that's such a that's a segue, all right. Um,
But
got you got me
But
cracking up.
yeah. But anyways, but you forgot to talk about the support matchup. Who we do know. Oh,
That's
Achilles
cool.
has been decked
Achilles.
by everyone. It's an infinite assault game has broken out in this
Well,
prospect
wait,
game.
well,
What do you
wait.
expect to see?
They banned all the Achilles. It's cheating.
but but back to the support matchup. We know Disay or Dies or Disay and Deathly Shriek. I know how Deathly Shriek's gonna play, but how do you think Disay is gonna play?
I think I think Dies is going to play a very I don't know. I think he's going to be forced to play something a bit more, on the back foot or just trying to keep Gary alive because I don't think you out W keep Deathly. That's just not something you do. He There is a very specific phrase that Deathly will say, and that just means he's in 5 people now. And
Yeah, fluff it.
th
I'm going in.
so I don't think it's gonna be any different tonight. So I think you don't try to out W key Deathly, you try to out support Deathly. You say, "Alright, I'm gonna keep my backline alive because that's what Deathly's gonna try to kill, and he's just gonna try to be the big differ this game, the big difference even."
Oh,
And
is that like the group of stars up in the
it
sky? The big
yeah,
dip.
but it's a diff, yeah. Thank you for catching it, Bubble. I knew you'd get it eventually, you
But
know?
I yes, I personally play with Deathly Streak all the time. We've teamed together. We even shared lunch. Um, but so me and Deathly Streak, we go back like a whole 3 months. Okay. Um,
Oh,
but
3 months.
so he's definitely gonna play the type of god that's gonna dive the banana out of you. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the deathly playstyle. You know, he's diving your bananas, and he much like
Call him Donkey Kong because he
I
out
was
here
gonna say
collects
K Roll
banana.
because
Oh,
K Roll steals the banana.
yeah, but Donkey Kong collects the bananas and he hoards the bananas.
I wait, does that make Donkey Kong the villain? I feel like that means that Donkey Kong's the villain.
He is the villain.
I
He's literally he's a metaphor for capitalism. He keeps all of the bananas to himself, and then he gets mad when the people take the bananas for themselves.
that's you know that you've really I expected to cast a prospect game today, and now I'm leaving with a new insight on how Donkey Kong Country goes out. So thank you, Bubble. You know, really you're teaching me so much on this cast. Um how do we segue back into the game when it's
Oh,
still
easily. So speaking of monkeys, I expected the Hun bats to be played in the jungle today. I think it's just the junglers aren't going to be the biggest skill people in the world, and so you
Mhm.
just try to play a jungler that just does what you need to do without being hard to play. And Hun bats is perfect for doing that. You hit forward, you have an impact.
Right, but on that same note, if you hit 4 and you don't have an impact, say you miss a monkey ult, right? Um, what happens then?
You don't get
I,
drafted. It's
you,
just what happened.
did you miss a hunt pencil once upon a time?
No, he dashed into it, so I hit it. So like
Uh-huh.
I predicted him.
Yeah, really, you're just smarter.
Yep.
Yep.
Um,
That all right. What were you saying, Bubble, before I rudely?
I can't talk about Donkey Kong Country anymore. So let's talk about this patch though. Some items gotten buffed. The Glad
Right.
Shield, nerf.
That's nerfed actually, not
Yeah, yeah. The Glad Shield nerf came through. You had the what? Mana cores got nerfed. You have
Bluestone.
Bluestone getting nerfed. Yeah, that really. How does that affect the Soul Lane meta?
I think that will lead that leaves like a lot of vacancy because there's now a like with Bluestone being nerfed, with Gladshield being nerfed. I think that Soul Laners will, you know, shy away from it a bit more. There'll still be Soul Laners like play that will abuse it, like your Guan Yus, your Hamazots. But I think that you will start to see a lot of these other picks come in. Maybe even some magical characters, stuff like the Kabrakan, the Hades, who are having such a big impact, especially in ranked. And first ban, Daji, and Kefri from both sides. Talk to me a bit about these bans. Standard or
Standard fare. You
Mhm.
people don't want to deal with Daji because you can't pick certain gods to do it. And Kepri just like is the ultimate ranked prospect to god,
Yeah,
where he prevents pick offs, which are like kind of meta in these like non-comp games, basically. To
I
where
agree. 65's not fun to play. I don't like playing 65s, and I think that this Chaos side, really good ban out of that Kefri. Do you think the Daji ban's a little early, or do you think that that first position is a good place for the Daji?
nah, it's fine. You ban it.
Mhm.
Your top three bans don't really like. Yeah, they matter a little bit because you can force someone to ban something,
Yeah,
but Dodgy, like certain teams won't ban it, certain teams will. You can't just have faith the other team will ban it. So you just take
right.
it out. You can ban something else. For instance, you could be playing for the Zhuang or Cupid
Mhm.
if you really wanted to.
Do you think that this order side will try to prioritize the Lancelot? I know that you're not the biggest fan of the Lancelot, but I think that a lot of these teams, when they're in first pick, are going to be taking this Lance. What are your thoughts on?
I think it depends how the bans go. Lance is gonna be probably banned second by this Chaos team.
Hmm. All right. So from what I'm hearing from production, this order side ran out of time. And, oh, never mind. Remake happening. So all we know for the moment is these two bands. As the lobby's getting remade. So there's still with these two bands, it doesn't tell you whole lot about what these two teams are drafting
I think
for.
that's wrong. I think it tells you a lot about this chaos side. How
Mhm.
they're anti-twerking because they took away the god with the fattest rump, and they can't dance with it no more.
Right. Um, my question actually for you is, how likely did you think that this order side bans Cabrakan? Because I know that a lot of these teams like this Cupid pick, and I think that if you're going for a Cupid pick, Lance Cabrakan are not Lance, Daji Cabrakan are like your first two bans for that. And even if you're playing for a Lance, I still feel like this Cabrakan ban's really good. So what are your thoughts on playing for that
I
Cupid?
personally think that Cabrakan should be top 6 ban in every draft. I
Hmm.
don't think you want. I don't think, especially in lower end games where it's easy to execute God,
Hmm.
you don't want Cabrakan to just stun you off horse or stun you and then wall you off. It limits your God pool. It
Hmm.
limits what can be played everywhere. So you forces you to get Phantom Shell. The God a lot of times just gets banned.
I agree. But on a similar note, do you think that the recent nerfs to Cabrakan changes if he'll be played in support or a solo lane a lot more? Because with these damage nerfs that got hit, it takes away some of his kill power if he's not going this full damage build. So talk to me a little bit about that.
I believe that it would push him more towards the support role where he's already used basically for his utility anyways,
Hmm.
and his damage was kind of like gravy on top of the ice cream. Um,
Uh,
but
uh, I never. I hate
but
that.
but yeah, he's basically going to be put in the support role. And he's
Hmm.
going to use his wall and stuns to just get the most utility possible.
All right. So we're back in picks and bans again, but for what we know, it should be Daji Capri again. All right. So we got the Daji. Should be a Capri on the other side. So I'm hoping we get a little bit farther this time. We get to see
And
Cabrakan.
there it is. Here comes Lance. Here comes Lance.
This has got to be this either has to be a Cupid ban or a Lance ban here because I
No, here's
don't.
the bands. It's gonna be
Mhm.
Dodgy Cabrakan,
Right.
then Lance on the other side.
Hmm.
Then there's gonna be a
That's a
Cupid.
Cupid.
No, I meant to say Cupid. This
Uh-huh.
guy's gonna ban your wing or to play for the your wing. They can do that too.
Hmm.
They're probably actually playing for your wing Lance right now. So they're gonna ban
Yeah.
like a Ganesh or Eset.
Iset.
Yeah,
What are your thoughts on Iset? I feel like she just kind of vanished. Like
I don't
she
think
was.
she vanished. I just think she is just there's certain mages who I
Cthulhu.
think mages as a whole are falling off, and there's certain mages who just came up.
So
And
this last ban from this chaos side, Cthulhu.
man, that's a weird ban unless you know who's playing. Uh,
Uh, wink,
that
wink.
Apti's only god he plays in solo is Cthulhu.
I think it's not his only god, but
My
his most
steed
notorious
and I
god.
are
And
ready for
right
yet
as we talking
another
about this
adventure.
Lance, first pick. What are your thoughts on it? What is? Do you like this Lance here into these bans?
I don't like Lancelot first. I'm be honest, especially with the
Hmm.
Guan Yu up. I think Guan Yu's
Oh
better.
yeah.
Um, Lancelot the Guan Yu matchup, I actually think is good for both of them because they're
Hmm.
both gods who don't like to get their teeth put in the first 5 minutes, and they're both gods that don't do that to the other laner.
Yeah.
So they just like to farm and sit there. But yeah, but for instance, picking Lancelot here means that the other team's probably gonna go Ymir.
Yeah. Like it's just. I think I agree with you with this one. I think people should start prioritizing the Lance into a later draft because then you're able to see, hey, is this Lance a good pick here or is it a bad pick here? It kind of becomes like a niche pick. Same way how like Vulcan used to be a niche pick. But with the cripple change coming through, he's able to be picked up a lot more. And speaking of niche picks, Thor. What are your thoughts on Thor right now, Bubble?
Thor's got a pretty good matchup in Lancelot. You get a
Mhm.
bunch of
You
early
are
pressure
not
off
yet
of it,
ready
but you
to
literally
become the
picked this
Jade
Thor and gave up your
Emperor.
Wong and potentially another good pick for a god you probably could have gotten as your last pick.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think this Thor should have gone that early. I think you could prioritize, the Hugh Wong or maybe just something else. So I really need to see some good counter picks coming out from this Chaos side to kind of save their drafts because out of the first two from each side, I know my favorite is going to be this Order side. What are your thoughts on it?
It just puts a lot of pressure on this Thor to perform. They think that
Hmm.
one reason why you pick it this early is so that you think it's going to perform and do well, and it can't really be counterpicked, is what you think.
Hmm.
That's wrong, of course. It's Thor, but it puts a lot of pressure on whoever's piloting this Thor to do well.
Yeah, I agree. And the more I'm looking at this Thor, the more I'm like, does this Thor have a good matchup into Lance in the jungle? Because this Lance could go either way still.
Yes, it does have a good matchup to Lancelot, mainly because you can
Mhm,
get the early pressure, and that's
mhm,
what Lancelot struggles against the most is being early pressured. His power ever since they nerfed his base scaling, his power, his numbers are just not as good as everyone else's early.
mhm.
And so when he needs items and fast to get them online to start doing damage.
Like an ability. It's like a jungle Baba Yaga in that sense, isn't it?
Man, I've heard someone use that phrase before, but I
Don't
forget
know where I
who.
don't
Yeah,
know
who?
where I got it from. Anyways, Jing Chen locked in. What are your thoughts on it right now? Do you think that this could have been a something else? That's
I
a
think
Hades.
it. I think the Jing Tian is a. I think it's just a safe pick. You don't want to pick your
Hmm.
other laners yet. And it's not going to get counter picked that hard, so yeah, it's fine. His
Yeah,
Hades pick third though
I
could be
like it.
really good.
I love it.
Um, I would actually like to see this. Unfortunately, it's going to go in the mid lane. I think Hades is really good in solo right now. I don't think you really want to throw it in mid, but it could be all right still.
I think
You
with
could still go the same build and get it online as fast, so it'll be
I
all right.
think with a lot more of these, like I think with Bancroft's Claw be showing its presence a lot more. I think Hades mid, it's not a throw pick anymore. I think this is actually a viable mid laner you can have where you're going to be brawling a lot more in mid. And if you have a Thor, that those fights are going to be so easy to start up. You know, Thor dunk, and then say they have to beads the Thor. I think this Hades is a great pick. And
Oh yeah.
for the
I've also
Chaos side,
Quad Hunter band. I was about to say.
yeah,
So
Quad
who's
Hunter
left?
Band,
We
Sternux.
got Cernanos,
I think that's a good
Artemis.
pick. Artemis. I don't think Artemis has a whole lot of good matchups
I
on.
think if you pick it on Chaos side, it's actually all right.
Actually, yeah, that's a good point. Gets because a lot of this draft is we have to get this Lance off the horse
And
because if
Artemis does that. Yeah.
Artemis does that extremely well, I think about 2/3 of this Chaos draft does a really good job at it, and I right now I'm absolutely loving this Chaos draft. This Hades just kind of put a smile on my face. I love seeing Hades. I love this
You're
god
just
right now.
ragging on their draft. You can't just switch it up, dog. You're like,
What
yeah,
dude?
this Thor, it's dog water. Like he should be
No, no,
drinking
no,
out of a
no.
bowl right now. But then you see Hades, you're like, oh,
Dude, well,
Hades.
it's the Hades. I love this. Like, I think Hades is such a good pick right now. All of his items are just so good at the moment, and he's just such an annoying presence to have out of the solo lane or out of the mid lane. And Jing Wei hover so far.
I hope that's a
This is
hover.
gonna be
That's a
fun.
lock in.
This is
Um,
gonna be
It's
fun.
safe.
it is
Uh,
safe.
Lancelot
It's
has a hard time tracking it down. Um, you can ult out of his ult. Like, it's safe. That's all I can say about that pick. I think it's not the best right now with the builds that everyone's going, but it's
mhm.
safe.
I think it's very safe. It's kind of like Charybdis. All right. So we're hearing from production that we currently don't have the Ishtar card art yet, for picks and bans, but I believe this order side has drafted an Ishtar. So that's what that little empty space is there. Nike Ishtar for your last two. What are your thoughts on this order side draft as a whole?
So Ishtar, I think is not the best. I'll be honest.
Mhm,
I think she does a lot of good damage, but she's like kind of like release MILF,
mhm.
where she was just very unsafe.
Yeah.
She was like good, like, but she was just very unsafe. And unless you're like good at positioning and good at the god in general, you're just gonna die on her.
Yeah. Um, I agree. I think this Nike into this Guan Yu, this kind of tells me that the Lance is going to be going into this jungle. I think this Nike into Guan Yu lane is going to be that nothing lane where it's just the two soul laners happen to existing, and we see an Ares 10th pick here. I like it here.
I don't know why you're picking Ares, to be honest.
I think it could
What
be
are
a very
you?
good match.
They all have like CC immunity. They all like Jing Tian's relied on his dash, but like Your Wang just banishes himself. Lancelot ults. Nike's unkillable. Like
I think they're looking to kill this Ish. I think that's where they're looking to just because I think Ishtar is very reliant on that dash for a lot of things. So I think that like for an escape, for a initiation, I think this Ares will actually do a very good job at just killing the Ishtar, and if you can get the Jingwei into a position where she doesn't feel this Ishtar pressure anymore, I think that this Jingwei is going to make a much bigger impact in these late game fights.
I just don't like the Jingwei pick. I'm gonna be honest. You pick all these other gods who are just gonna be diving, right?
Mhm.
You pick Jingwei. She doesn't terribly dive that well. She has
I
her
think
ult,
it's
but that means you're ulting in. Like it's not like you're a Rama who could just be 30 years back and ult in, or a Chiron who could just be 30 years back ult in. She's kind of just being by herself in these
But
fights.
I have a counterpoint with that. What you could do for this Jingwei is the Jingwei survives dive very well. You're able to get up into that ultimate and just stall up there for so long. You're able to get so much mobility out of your gust into dash, and I think that you're very survivable on this Jingwei. And this Lance, this Nike are gonna have such a hard time diving you. Where I think that if you send your four in for that chaos side, they'll be able to get the job done without the Jingwei.
I still have
So
to disagree because you're just having your ADC run away. At that point, what's the value of that? Nike's very good at by herself keeping Jingwei at bay by herself, which
hmm,
means that it's a 4v4 and one of the sides don't have their ADC.
that is a good point. It all really depends on how this chaos side will play their team fights because it's a very different team fight. It's not. I don't think this team fight is very traditional where they're looking for a 5v5 fight. I think they're looking for more skirmishes. They're not looking for a 5v5 engagement. They're looking to pick people off out of position. Say Hugh Huang is pushed up too much and he has to sacrifice his dash or his banish. If this Lance is pushed up too far without ult, I think that this chaos side is very pick styled. I think that it has a very good
Oh, into
chance
the
of
game
working.
now. We're
Into the game.
we're gonna see some very interesting builds. That we see the I saw stream pause.
All right. From what we can see, though, we have a tainted steel coming out of the Nike. What are your thoughts on that? Let's start. Let's go row by row here. What do you think about this tainted steel on this Nike?
I kind of hate this Nike's build already. I'm not gonna lie.
I definitely wish that Soul Eater start would have been a Blackthorn. I think that
I think if you're gonna go the tainted, you kind of go the Blackthorn there. But
because right now you don't have any mana sustain. You don't have anything
blue
to.
buff.
You have blue buff, but it doesn't really save your mana woes the same way a Bluestone does or a Blackthorn does. So
I think the junglers have each other's builds.
yeah, wait. Also, interesting note to point out, Chaos side doing the speed to red start, while the Order side is doing the red to speed start. What do you think is gained by each side doing their own respective starts?
I think red to yellow is just better. You just get totem, and you could kill the soul laner. I think that if the only way yellow to red works, if both teams do it, and one of the team messes up really hard and gets a pick. But I want to talk about something real quick.
Right.
I've been playing too much with this Insomnia Deathly Shriek guy,
Mm-hmm.
and he went this Sentinel's gift upgraded med clip right off the rip.
Wait, I didn't even see that at first. Thank you for pointing that one out. What are your thoughts on the meditation pickup immediately? Also, this chaos side is getting hard out pressured in duo lane, and an early game gank, but not gonna result in much. Anyways, back to the duo lane. Back to this Ares.
So you get it because you don't get cooldown early as a support on some supports nowadays. I just don't think Ares is the best god to do it on.
Yeah, that Ares he's a god that just likes that blink so much, and we see a little bit of action on solo lane, but I think it's just a slap fight right now. But we see for a sure fight in this duo lane, and over the scepter. I believe the Order side managed to secure it. Yes, they did. Guys, very close to being a solo kill.
If you have Bluestone, you kill him.
Actually, I think that's a very great point. And Bluestone, will definitely kill him there, or even just like
or Warrior's X.
Yeah, a lot of different items, but dash in, no dash for the Guan.
Guan heal OP.
For real. We see the dash onto the Yu Huang in mid, but both these characters have a lot of ways to make sure that they're living. Hades with the heal, Yu Huang with just the overall safety with the kit. And then we're gonna see Apti pressuring towards his blue buff. But with the jungler in mid, I think this will be a very easy blue buff. Apti already getting so much pressure in this solo side lane.
Oh, Bishop's gonna die if he does that.
Oh yeah, he can't step up there.
But he is gonna fight him. Thor should be
All right.
rotated.
Thor is on the way, but I think it'll be
Apti's
just a little too late.
blue buff. That's on either the soul lane or the jungler there. Level 3 invade should not happen without any.
Yeah, you gotta.
You
if
have
you're
to
getting
call
out
your
pressured,
jungler over, or if you're the jungler, you have. Oh, but leap in!
leap in, but he just doesn't have the
Didn't get
health
the
to actually
knockup.
chase him. But so we see the Thor posturing over to the solo side right now, possibly looking for a gang, but Nike definitely sees him. Wall off the mark, hammer off the mark. After he just kind of doesn't pay attention to him. Then we see
Bishop
Yuquan.
gets very depressed in lane as he witnesses that.
Yeah, so we see this duocide now for the Aura side going for the purple buff. I believe they got the purple buff invade, but yeah, they did get.
ADC.
We'll find out next time we cut over there.
The other one does. They both have it.
No, they both have it. Okay, no purple buff invade that we know of.
Nope,
Actually, no. Wait, no.
Crows just fell off.
Yeah, they definitely did. Team buff.
Yeah, Jing Tinish definitely crushed.
All right. Ooh,
A little bit of a
5.
miscommunication.
Very smart for Crow not to give up those beads there, but I think definitely lives because of this meditation. I think he has enough
I think
sustain.
he lived because Gary and Jing Tian miscommunicate their own.
That is right. They did both throw those ones down at the same time, not getting a whole lot of value off of it. Then in this mid lane, tell me a little bit about this mid lane matchup. What do you expect to see from this mid lane?
Yuan clears wave and Hades clears wave instantly, and they go to farming. Hades doesn't really threaten Yuan. And Hades just out sustains a lot of the damage they're gonna take.
So what do you think the advantages to this Hades pick is then in mid over a solo lane Hades, or just having a Hades mid over another mid laner?
Well, Hades mid is just hard to kill. You just self-sustain a lot. Being in mid lane, you're even harder.
And Appy is just going in on this. That should be a solo kill. The ult just way too late. If you're Guan, you have to just ult early. You cannot be afraid to ult out of there because you're already way too far gone. Good positioning by Appy. Getting the solo kill and actually pressuring towards the blue buff at a perfect time again. I think that is... Appy played that as well as anyone could. That was just... Bishop just not... Ooh, Leap going over there. Ishtar should be actually in a world of trouble here.
Ishtar should die here.
But the beads do come out so he can get the dash off, and if I'm this Chaos side, I'm so happy with that. As an Ares, I didn't even have to give up ult. All I had to do was just feign her, and I got her beads out. I think that this Ishtar is going to be having to play so far back now. So afraid of Deathly. The ult comes out from
Too early.
She
killed. But she still killed Deathly.
No.
Oh no!
That could have just gone bad from worse. That Jing.
Oh, the huge manatee. Deathly streak. Inting.
So.
Is that a Pythags coming out first too? I think he lives if he has any other item.
Yeah, I think that him not having those early protections, that early health is really... Oh, we see a pause come out from them, but that early... Not having that early health from either a Gauntlet or a Mana Cores or something just makes it so that he just happens to die there. But Gary mistiming the ult, but really is able to out DPS trade. The Jingwei doesn't have a whole lot of kill pressure early on, doesn't have enough yet. And I think that...
I think the Jingwei also didn't realize that she was about to be pulled in. I think Jingwei was out of position and wasn't ready to capitalize on the pull.
Yeah. I definitely need this dual lane talking a lot more, saying, hey, we're going in on this. We are fighting this. We are Ares pulling here. But overall, just really good turnaround from Gary, but also really, really good awareness by Shriek to pull him back in. Just happens that Jigway is just a little too far from the fight. Currently 2-0 for this order side. Who did you have favored in the early game? out of these two drafts? Which early game should be going better?
Well, it should be whichever lane Thor is ganking, and Ares
Mhm.
also gets good early pressure, but we see this Thor hasn't gotten active yet. He chose to go build that won't let him get active early,
All right,
and Ares just died.
all right, unpause happening now. We see a little bit pressure gained back for Bishop in this solo side, but Apti already had this foliar finish, and he's so good amount to getting that stacked up. Hades ult comes out, but the Hu Huang just able to leap up and just make it so that he's not really ever threatened by the Hades ult. Both mid laners are just so good at just existing. In this late game, do you have the Yu Huang favored? Do you have this Hades favored? Thor going up actually. Before we should talk about that, Thor comes down onto Apti. Stun comes out, wall comes out. Nekio will come out, leap goes over the wall, but unfortunately they don't have enough space over onto there.
They don't have enough damage, and do you know why? Because the Thor decided to get a Transcendence first instead of a flat pin item.
That is a very good point, especially when the Dreadful Doctor on the other side already has a Jotun's finish and a tier 1, and Thor doesn't even have trans finish yet. I think that he really is falling so far behind. You can see that in the gold per minute. Already 30 extra gold per minute behind this Thor, and it's
he has less net worth than a Ares who's died already.
This Thor just needs to be farming or just be way more active. Obelisk does. And if we look at the Obelisk, we see that this Order side just has so many more crabs in the Obelisk so far. And that is going to be, I believe, a 7-1 in the Obelisk. And that is just so much more global gold. We already see a 2k gold lead develop.
2k is kind of insane at 8 minutes.
Yeah. And for this more early Gary just fight over in duo side. Definitely just happens to get picked, but we see the chase onto Gary. Gary walled in. Shell comes out.
Gary should die here.
Gary should definitely die, but he's not dead yet.
On, Ford.
There just isn't enough. Alright, Crow ulting in, but
Inch for Gary.
We see the score. We need to see a spin.
Let's go!
The spin picks it up, and then but the Hu Huang in the back, the Hades ult comes out. Crow manages to get out, but
that's huge for Crow to live.
That's a huge 1-for-1 there.
Oh,
but
even more beautiful.
Yeah, we see a lot of low health bars on this right side, but in the end of the day, if I'm picking which is more valuable to pick up, I'm definitely taking their DC over my support. But we see the Ares chain comes out, stopping the Lancelot chase. Not really anything the Lance can do after that without ult. And we see this Guan rotate over, trying to see if we can clean up.
It's a huge chain.
Yeah, no, this chain, I think actually he dies off that. Yeah, he doesn't have ult, so he can't ult out of it there. Really good.
Dr. Dreadful getting his hand caught in the cookie jar, and all of a sudden there's a mousetrap in it for whatever reason.
Did you put mousetraps in your cookie jar? Anyways, whatever. Chain's coming off up to Apti, but not a whole lot coming off of it. But the
Apti up, Tony.
All right, we see the roof come out from the Ares, and then here's an ult as well from the Jing Chen. That is massive. Results into Neptune's death.
Doing his best corpse impression, and being dead again for the 3rd time.
So corpse like the dead body, not like okay. So
not like the guy who goes.
Yeah, but Bro at half health ult comes out from the Ishtar, and Ishtar looks to be going in on that left side. So low. Crow is just so low over there,
and we gotta kill him.
See a little yeah, that looks to be a solo kill. This Hades, I don't even know how that happens right there. Do you have any insight on what could have happened in that mid lane where that is the outcome?
Possibly happen. Wang 3'd, caught a sudden bout of amnesia, forgot that he had already 3'd, and let Hades walk up and kill him.
Alright, we see a fight.
On here, though.
We see the fight break out in solo side. Not a whole lot of health dropping, but the action. Huge Ares ult. The Nike ult comes out, and we see a wall come out, trying to collect on this Nike, but this Nike is just able to get out with how much She already
I
has
could
this
just
Glad
turn on
Shield.
the DC
Yeah.
here.
The Jing Chen getting turned on.
Misses the root.
The Yu Huang root off the mark, but at the end of the day, just not enough damage yet out of this right side. Just this transcendence from this Thor is really hurting this early game activity.
And then I don't like. Okay, so I'm gonna say Thor is an early to mid game god.
Right.
You want flat pit.
Yeah.
When your first two items are transcendence and what I can only assume be a Hydra's, it's
You
not.
don't have. Yeah, you don't really have that kind of instant burst potential that you would have on, say, you went a Jotuns or a Brawlers first. And
Like I said,
yeah.
there's a very good chance that these junglers just have their build swapped. Even though I still think Transcendence Hydra is only good on like 2 gods. But yeah, I don't mind the build on Lancelot. It's fine. I really just mind the
Ult
Thor.
comes out from Gary.
But
Forces the ult out of the Crow, and Gary's just having so much pressure in this lane. Like, it's just Crow not being able to quite respond to this Jing Wei pick from all this pressure the Istar's bringing out. Right, up down comes out from the Yu Huang, but not a whole lot resulting from it. And now we get into a game where part of the game where it's just back to farming. There's not a whole lot to currently. Never mind, call me a liar because Chain's come out, Yu Huang comes out, and this Jing Chen walking up, most likely looking for this Jing Chen ult. Ares ult comes out to respawn. Yeah, that was just good. Lancelot having presence over there, and I believe Abby solos the Thor. I don't really know how that one happens. But maybe
level
13. But
Thor is 10.
really, that Thor should never really be getting caught by the Nike. Do you think?
You're right.
And Thor even had ult still.
Yeah, that's kind of unforgivable.
And yeah, it's just this Thor is just not getting active enough, and I think that's a lot of the reason why that it really feels like they're getting out pressured in every lane that isn't this mid lane. What are your thoughts on the Thor? What are your thoughts on why this red team is currently behind?
I think it has two problem areas. I think the jungler who picked Thor second is not getting active early enough. And I think there's also another issue of Deathly Streak is also feeding his nuts.
Yeah, but even with Deathly having 2 deaths, the biggest level disparity right now is in the solo lane, where you see 2 full levels for Apti and Bishop, who just ticked over to 12. I think a lot of this early gold has ended up in Apti's pocket, and he's just thriving on it at the moment, able to pick off the Thor in his own jungle even. And even if we look at the gold per minute charts, Apti is just a cut above the rest in that department. A 513 for the early game is really good.
As a solo laner, a lot of times it's hard. You can get solid early and come back.
Jump under tower.
But you get like that level 5 mark, where like you get solid, really roach. At that point, the other solo laner can farm fast enough to get a good lead off you. And your death timer is also long enough for them to get good.
Also, I believe that this Nike has been able to secure almost every totem, so that's just so much gold in hand. I think that's part of the reason why we see a 3k, about a 3k gold lead for this order side, because they're just able to get a lot of these early objectives, like that first obelisk, like some of these totems. But you have to ult out there. Good awareness. Yeah, that's a dead area. But Juan still goes back in. Why? Yeah, that's really questioning why he went back up. He was already out, and then we see Bro on the other side of the map forced to ult out, but I don't know if he's far away enough yet. And then we see this fight over on the solo side of the map under tower. We see Thor dead, and there's not much as Hades. He has to get out. He doesn't have ult, and it's just everything on this. Everything on the map right now is just coming up blue. It's just, even though that this right side draft should have had the better early game, it's just everything's going from bad to worse. We see that 3k gold lead, now it's up to 6k. And I don't see it going down anytime soon. Especially with this Pyromancer being looked at by this order side.
Yeah, this team on the right's they pick Ares Thor, and those guys don't really get better as the game goes on. So this
Yeah,
other left side should just be able to outscale them. But after having a 4-level lead on Guan Yu, it's
4
just
levels.
just gonna get way worse.
Yeah, and
they're gonna just snowball this game.
right now, jungle's the only role that is dead even, but you have a 2-level lead in ADC, you have a 1-level lead in support, 3 whole levels in a solo, and as I'm speaking, Lance picked over the Thor. So it's just, this game is just really gone from bad to worse. You had just so many opportunities for this Thor to get active in this early game, but because he went for this Transcendence over the Jotun, it's really just stunting this. And right now, if I'm this order side, I'm looking for a pick and just trying to run at a Gold Fury. Try to get that gold lead even further up.
You just need Nike on that side of the map, and it's just gold.
That is true. This Nike just has so much presence. There's not really anyone that can fight the Nike on this right side draft. They're just, your ADC doesn't have Kins online yet.
A very interesting build choice.
Yeah.
And going to Spectral before anyone has even thought about building crit.
Yeah, I mean, even if this Jingwei doesn't go crit, you do have a 20% chance when she does enhance her autos that those crits are hitting you for less, but if this... Oh, we see Yu Huang ult come out, Bees come out from the Hades, Thor is going up, Lance ult comes out under tower. Lance should be dead here. We see a slow good. Thor off the mark. Hammer comes in, takes him off the horse. Hades cleans up the kill. Good follow-up by that Hades with that Thor. And then we see Bishop actually engaging on this Yu Huang. Dash is good. Just a little bit more damage. Ares ult definitely will be able to pick that up. We see an Ares ult onto the Jing Chen, but Appy in the back. He's on the back there, just being able to just pick off. And I don't think Appy's done. I think Appy's about to go pick up the next person. And then we see everyone turn to go look at Appy now. Appy's health not shredding fast enough, so we see this blue side regroup. Thor walled very on the mark.
If you're red, you can't take this fight.
Yeah, you have to get out. Appy's not dying. His health has not gone down. It's just, you need to get out. You got...
Oh, good chain.
You got your two.
It's more of a bait.
Miss. Alright, we see the Thor dying here. Definitely should die. And then, this Nike's finally getting damage taken. I think it's so little too late. This Lance is finally back in the fight. Full buttons up. This should be a dead Guan or even a dead Jingwei. But Lance ult doesn't come out. And I think this is just going to be a tier 1 tower. Yeah, no, Appy needs to die. The Appy's finally dead. That is so much
That's
gold.
A troll and a half by the
But I think even then, this order side's still going to be looking for this Gold Fury now.
This is a risky Gold Fury.
This is, especially with Hades' nose. Hades is booking it over here. Yeah, he doesn't quite have that kill.
I think have the health for it.
Yeah, I think if he doesn't secure it, he at least, can get a kill off of it. Blue team does secure it, but Gary does fall. Trade coming out. Yeah, blue team, that is such a good. And I think this Guan Yu's dead as well. It's just doesn't have ult. No shot. Ares ult. Alright, that's a really good Thor ult. Some burn actually coming in. That Thor turns that fight there along with Deathly on this Ares.
Yeah,
Blink comes out for Lance.
Deathly's name to Donkey Shriek because he just carried the load there.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know if you're this order side, you go for a Gold Fury there. You don't have the health, you barely have the resources. You secure the Gold Fury, but you end up losing a lot more of your resources even then. And I just think that they should have just backed, regrouped, then they could look for a Gold Fury with their health and their gold lead. But now, gold lead still the same about where it is, about a 5-6k gold lead. So I think that after that fight, it's not a whole lot happening.
And the last item,
that is the last item, mutants. Oh, Appy, what are you doing? I mean,
alright, I'm gonna justify moving. You already have tanked, so you don't go forward. Crusher's also just as troll for your last item. So instead, he just I need flat pen instead of
any other damage item. possibly go. Or even like a Spirit Robe, make you even more unkillable.
I think
Especially as
just
this.
got the concept wrong for these characters.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I think.
A bishop has required much of the. In fact, they even have a lead in the jungle now. And a lot of this lead has been reduced.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing an evening of the two teams right here. You know, once a 3-level lead is now.
Channel out, beads are out.
Yeah, and this
Thorwall is out.
Thorwall is out. Don't really know what happened to it, but right now, this Chaos has to just give up a lot of their positioning.
Order out here getting the pyromancer.
Yeah, that burn off that shotgun blast from the Ishtar, and Order doing the right play and trying to disengage here. I think that's a perfectly great play. You got what you came for. Your lance is at half health. It's not a whole lot for you to fight over. You know that Chaos Side is not going to just rip a fire there.
Yeah, but they are going to grab your tier 1.
But I mean, if Apti has anything to say about it, it will not be free.
Just turn on him, Crow.
Yeah, he has Kins. He should be able to really cut. Yeah, he should be doing quite a bit of damage to this Nike at this point.
This Thor has apparently said, "I'm never gonna build flat pin." It's now going.
That's a Heartseeker. That's a Heartseeker. Do you like the Heartseeker, or do you think? What other items should he be going here specifically?
I don't know. Brawlers, yeah, crushers.
Honestly, I wouldn't even mind it if I just saw.
It's just the rest of his. I don't mind the third item Heartseeker. It's just that it doesn't go well with the rest of his.
Yeah, you don't have any shred yet. You have 10% pen off that Hydras, and that's it.
At 20% if you go
Heartseeker, yeah, 20%, and then I believe both Bumba's upgrades do give percent. I could be wrong, but Tosa having to ult out of the Hades ult there. A lot of resources burned. You got B's Aegis out of the Yu-Wong and his ult.
Pushing though, so like.
Yeah, you need to make something happen.
Red team has to decide if they're gonna push this tower.
Yeah,
or they're
you need to be decisive here. You cannot just fight over nothing. You
have to back here for this Ishtar. Someone has to back. You can't let it
this Ishtar is gonna get a Phoenix. No one's even looking at their map yet.
If your blue team, you just run it.
All right, now we see a teleport.
You need to stun him. You need to stun him.
Yeah. No, just no hard CC. But now it's a 4v4. We see a massive Jing Channel, and that's a dead Thor. And this Ishtar's getting chased out, but I think this fight is already way too late for this Chaos Side to be taking. And the Nike's just running at the Jing Wei. It's just, there's no damage able to be brought out from this Chaos Side.
And Bishop just gets soloed. The Crow gets soloed.
It's just, everything that could have gone wrong in that fight went wrong.
The red team played that completely wrong.
Talk to me about it.
First of all, you have to know that you're getting Zerg. She was already on your tier 2. Someone should have already been back 30 minutes ago. And your goal is there to just stop Phoenix. You don't have to chase them. Then you just lose the 4v4, like straight up. And you're going to because the other team's ahead. Like you can't take a fight there. It's just a bad play by red team.
After, by the way, sells the Jotuns for Genjis, and that's such a better pickup. It still should be a Spirit Robe, but if I were to pick between Genjis and Jotuns, I want Genji. But I think Apti just does such a good job at just zoning Evelynn out, where he's not able to play the game.
Well, that's just what Nike does. She prevents ADCs from doing their damage for
him. And in that fight, that's your main primary source of damage. Thor gets insta-picked, and this Hades is just not quite able to to delete people.
I hate to interrupt you, but I just saw something. Look at the relic and tell me what you see.
What relics? What?
Just look at some relics. I'll let you find it.
That's a Sunday. That's a Sunday. No blink.
I get it. Not on your jungle. Make like Ares get it. Make
the Guan could even get it.
Like he's going something to be doing. And this comes back to the meditation. You can't get some.
Yeah, like this. Alright, this Hades is just not dying. That's just he is so much sustained. Beads come out from the Hades. Dash comes out. Yu Huang off the mark. Jing Chen off the mark. Ishtar mark does they
Deathly
do take down the
is
areas,
soloed.
and now this Hades is falling so quickly. Good door wall to be able to peel out, but
Nice
just
kill.
enough damage.
Yeah,
And this
should be
tier 2
game.
tower goes down as well. After finally
Especially
getting
if
shredded a bit
Bishop
more,
dies here.
but
Bishop can't die.
this order side does not carry. They were about to push up in the Phoenix, but I think they're just going to do a tower sweep here. I think that's a perfect call from them.
Yeah, I guess the only way you lose this game is you throw by going for Phoenix is too early. But they had two people picked. That's
11. That is, if my math is serving me correctly, that is 11. That is a 13k gold lead right now.
more like 12k. They should get the idea.
12k, leading towards
Ah,
13k,
maybe.
and they just shred through both their frontliners so
Should be a
easily.
dead Bishop. Yep,
It's
that's
just-
just game. That's just game.
That has to be. I think that this order side just did such a good job at getting their late game comp online so much earlier than it should be able to get online. I think you need to draft more pressure into this chaos side draft in that duel
They
lane.
have
because
pressure. They have pressure.
I
They
don't-
have Ares Thor. They just didn't use it.
I think I agree with you now about the Jingwei pick, where I don't think Jingwei did anything this game. I don't think that Jingwei was able
He's just
to.
running.
He's just no impact right now. I mean, the damage numbers.
It's not even her fault because
Yeah.
this Nike was just so better off the
But when your Thor is having 6.5k damage at 27 minutes, it's just it feels so bad, especially when you're that's where a lot of your activeness, your team fight comes from, is from this Thor getting online early and being able to swing the game that way.
Yeah, he just never got involved early. Like, it doesn't help his solo got soloed off the rip, but like even then he didn't like Thor up into the lane. He was just sitting there trying to farm, and I'm like, if you're just gonna do that, pick, I don't know, Kali. Like he's just sitting there trying to farm
like,
for 20 minutes.
For a pick like Ishtar in this duel lane, like a Thor should be able to just shut that pick down so easily. You have a wall to wall off the dash. You're forcing that cage match to be taking place in a cage match. I'm taking Thor, an early game Thor at that, over an early game Ishtar. And I think that based off of this Thor not quite getting what he did to do in this early game, I think that it kind of spelled a little bit of doom for this right side draft. And we see a fight breaking out in mid. After actually getting burned quite a bit, but so is this Thor, not even able to get up before into his ult. I think that this is just, you have to be fighting as 5, and you have to make sure that you're using all these resources just to kill 1 or 2 of them.
Yeah, I'd say you summed it about right. I think this next draft, and he does it again. He breaks my heart. He goes
Titans fan.
like Titans fan.
Titans fan. Do you think he's going for this Bumba's Hammer, or do you think he's...
He has to get Bumba's Hammer, because the only reason to get a spear is to get the extra damage on objectives, but you also get the 10% pen off of it. He's going full pen already. I don't think it'll matter. I think he's already so far behind that it doesn't matter.
From what I've seen, he has not been able to quite, dive onto a backline and use any of his items. I don't think I've seen him like ult aggressively or to start a fight at all. Like I don't think I've seen a whole lot from this Thor swinging a fight, and I think that's what's kind of compounding this red team's already very apparent issue. We're at a 15k gold difference now. This game, 3 Phoenixes down. This game is this game not being over is more of a formality at this point. Thor does come in though. 3-man stun, but just a little too late. Doesn't get through the wall. That's a dead Thor. He's come out, but yeah, you got to be able to teleport through that wall. That's just, you get picked so easily there. And I think that if that play happened earlier in the game, where you're not 15k gold down and they didn't just get fire, I think that could have been just like, that's a game-changing moment right there. That's a moment that will just, you could blow someone up. You could really just end the game right there. But Greek getting redded outside of his Phoenix, I think this is the Titan call. We see Jing Chen walk up this after being able to just zone off Pro once again, not make him be able to participate. Juan doing a really good job at keeping them off the Titan. Gary being able to just shred this Juan so easily. This Titan slowly falling, but we're getting to the point in that game where it doesn't even matter anymore, and that's the game. That's the where is that from? I feel like it's Mario Party. I feel like it's Mario Party.
I don't know.
I don't know either. But what do you think besides this Thor? Because I feel like there was a lot more than just the Thor. What went wrong for this right side draft?
I think the Ares pick was awful. You wanted to get involved early, but there's just if you want a support that does that, there's just better picks. It's not safe. It showed he went 2-7. I think Bishop getting soloed by a Nike right off the rip is also unforgivable. I think that's what really started the snowball. Um, I think the Hades did fine. I think the Hades and the Jingwei were products of the rest of their team failing rather than what they did wrong.
Mm-hmm. So if you had to switch up anything from like this draft from this right team, what are you changing? Are you changing out the Thor? Are you changing out the Ares? Are you
I'm
changing out
never
both?
picking Thor. The man showed that he couldn't pilot it that, and I think whether that was his choice to pick it or not, he should really rethink about picking it.
Mhm.
He should probably pick something he can know he can execute on.
Mhm.
Um, and this Ares, like I said at the beginning of the game, I think it was just a bad pick.
Yeah, I was trying to give the benefit of the doubt to this Ares, trying to make it seem that he was able to have a lot more of that presence in that duo lane, in that early lane, being able to possibly pick off this Ishtar before she can get started pressuring this Jingwei. But since that wasn't able to happen, the Jingwei not being able to do much to fend for herself in this current meta with the itemization will just make it so that she just gets blown up so quickly. I think I want to see Crow on something a lot more aggressive, a lot more in your face. I don't like the Jingwei on him. I think that's not a look where I would associate that with Crow. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I was surprised to see that get picked up. Honestly, I just think the god is just not good right now. I think that all she does is stay alive, and there's gods who are just better who just do that job for her.
Yeah, but that in a game one, that's all about all. It's a feeling out period right now. Yeah, now you're game two. We're gonna be seeing a switch up in jungles, so the two junglers are gonna be swapping sides. And what are your thoughts on that? What do you expect to change?
I don't think much will change. I think the jungler on blue team didn't get active that early, and it and mainly it was that just benefited blue team because they were able to get pressure everywhere else,
Mhm.
and he was playing Lancelot, which just if the other jungler is going to choose a farm with you for 20 minutes, you're also going to take that because you're Lancelot, highest scaling god in the game. I don't
Mhm.
think junglers is going to do much.
Where would you rather choose like the switch? Do you think the supports would need to switch up? What do you if you were in this right now, would you say yeah, switch up the supports or switch up the junglers, or what would you switch
Switch the
up?
solos. I
The
think a lot of
solos.
the snowball came from at that early Apti lead, which was very just facilitated by himself, really. Um, and I think that I'd like to see what would
Mhm.
happen between red and blue team if that the shoe was on the other foot.
Mhm.
Also, you could always expect a better performance out of Bishop. He needs to not drop the ball here, and he needs
Yeah,
to make sure that his laner doesn't get 3 levels ahead of him.
I think I think that would be a great thing is being able to just switch that up a bit. Seeing these solo and junglers switch teams are going to be definitely something a bit interesting. And I think, are we cutting it to a break? Production? Production, yes. Production is saying that. So we're going to cut it to a break and we'll be back for game two. Welcome back. Short little break there, and we're back again with the same prospect. Still me, I, Charlie. To my up, right, down, left, or maybe nowhere. Bubble. Bubble. What were your thoughts about that game overall? After
Um,
after that little break to digest it.
well, I'm currently digesting these crackers, but um, I would have to say the MVP award has to go out to the. I hate to say it, even though he smells, Abdi definitely gets the
I
MVP award that game.
I hate to say it as well, just because Apti's just that type of person to just rub it in. Like, yeah, I was just, I played the best in that prospect. Yeah, that's just the type of person Apti is. But I do agree with you. Apti just was able to get up off to such a great performance off the rip. And that was just that was the first sign of doomsday for this chaos draft. And with Apti on this chaos side now, along with Dreadful Doctor, I think that maybe we see a little bit more of a closer game, more even game. Maybe we just see the same thing reverse, or the same thing again for Order just dominating chaos. That's the beauty of this game, isn't it, Bubble? That we don't know until we see it. Do you think that we see this Nike taken away from Apti, or do you think that we'll see a lot of the same band?
I think the only thing, if you're on or if you're on Chaos side with the Thor now on the other team, you ban the Thor. I think
Yeah.
it looked a little too good. You don't give it to him again. But on a serious note, I don't think you ban. I don't think you ban Nike. I think Bishop's just got to play that a little bit better, and I
Yeah.
think that his jungler may just have to help him a little bit more.
So you think that it was more of an execution issue than it was a player issue?
Well, I'm just asking you this, Charlie. Which god do you think is better right now, Nike or Guan Yu?
I think Guan Yu is such a better god at the moment. So yeah, so we're going into fixing bans now. So Caffrey ban first, same as last game, but just on this order side this time. Um, yeah, once again, your thoughts on this huge Kepri ban that we
Well,
totally
yeah,
didn't see coming.
you know that the Order side has now joined the Chaos side in their anti-twerking protest, as they again banned the god with the fattest rump.
I anything that Kefri does, and that's the first thing. So we just see a flip of the two bans now. So Daji for this chaos side, and Kefri for this order side, because I'd rather not talk about Kefri's assets. So, um, do you think that we'll see just a flipping of bans, or do you think that from here on out we see a little bit divergent? We see
I
a
think
little mixed
Divergent.
pool.
I think after this, you're gonna see whatever they're gonna ban. Different teams prioritize different stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're gonna see the Cupid still be banned. I'm a
Yeah,
psychic. I don't know what to tell you.
I really just so
Um,
far it is a mirror.
I don't think Lancelot gets banned. I think a Bracken gets banned here though.
I think that if you're this Kraken does I you're like in these lobbies apparently. So yeah,
Long ban now though.
I think if you're this chaos side, you do ban the Lancelot because it gave three of your players such a huge issue last time that maybe you don't risk it. Maybe you even though you have the Lance from last game on your team, Nike ban. Nike ban. Bubble, you said we wouldn't see a Nike ban. Why are you lying to me?
Well, that's obviously because I'm 2 beers in, and my clairvoyance has been clouded.
I we do see a
Lancelot ban.
Lancelot ban.
All right,
I'm
I'm
a,
done.
I'm a psychic now, so I get the last two bans right. What do you think? Do you think they just first pick this Yu Huang, or do you think that there's another pick that's just like screaming out to the void right now?
Guan Yu's always there. Yu
You
Huang
are
though is
not
for
yet
safer
ready
choice. Yeah.
to become the
Yep, Yu
Jade
Huang.
Emperor.
Do you think we see this Guan Yu picked up again for Apti this time, or do
I
you
don't
think
think Apti plays Guan Yu. I think he's gonna pick
I
Hades.
let's go the Hades?
The end
Hades
Oh no!
is
Yorm.
now.
No. Oh no. Talk to me about the Yorm pick. What does the Yorm do in a game? What does Yorm do?
Um. So Yorm is very good at killing one person if you execute it correctly. He, however, has the problem of taking himself out of the fight for about 10 seconds.
Hmm.
And when your solo laner's taken out of the fight for 10 seconds, that's kind of bad.
Because now they're just looking at your jungler, who you're diving.
Jungler gets deleted, then your support gets deleted, and then maybe Jorm has maybe killed someone at that point, but who knows?
Yeah, once again, the same issue I had from the Chaos side last time is you could have gotten this Yorm so much later down your draft. You did not have to grab the Yorm right here. But
I will leave standing
And
no
that's a
barrier
great pick
to
there.
our success.
yeah, no, that's quite literally. I'm surprised we didn't see Ganesh last game.
You are finished.
And Achilles. So talk to me a little bit about these
time
picks.
has
What are they
come.
doing? And they're
Well, Achilles is just solid. He's not going to
Mhm.
do much more than just his job. Ganesh, of course, cancels channeled abilities, and he can just drop ult on the Hades.
Mhm.
Morgan, I guess you could have double Jorm, but I'd probably prefer the double Pillar of Torment by the Hades. But I
Yeah.
could be wrong. Double Jorm could be funny.
It could be funny. So we both know this Deathly Shriek individual. What are the chances this is a Yorm support?
It's not. That's not his type of god. Oh wait, it is.
It is.
Oh no. I don't think it's a Jorm support. It is a Jorm support because the Hades solo, Morgan mid.
Yeah,
I don't
It
think
could-
it's a Morgan jungle.
even with the changes on her one, having her do a little bit more increased damage to jungle camps, you still think that's
Not
gonna be?
two.
No, it's on her. It's on her one. It's on
That's not what you're clearing with there. You're clearing with that too.
Well, yeah, but same way with Dan's jungle, you don't clear with the pot. So we see the X-Ball ban once again. Do you think we see another quad ADC ban, or do you think that we see
How these two ADCs are, there's gonna be a quad ADC ban again.
Chernobog? So are we about to see a Charybdis ban and then a what was the other ban?
Boy,
Oh yeah, yeah. Are we just gonna? Is this what we're gonna see? Is this what? What are your thoughts on quad ADC bans here?
I don't know, but if I'm order side, I think about banning. I would have banned Rat on Bats, honestly, because
Yeah.
I don't want this Morgan to have very good transformations. But
Yeah,
they decided Chernobog's not bad.
Jing Wei ban.
Wei.
So the Charybdis. Okay, so in the Chaos side, production once again telling me that an Ishtar has been locked in. So for this Chaos side,
Is that
so
Crows or,
it is Crow this time. Crow on the Ishtar, and we see an Artemis hover.
Let the hunt begin.
So
I
Artemis
think
into
the Artemis
Ishtar.
wins that matchup. Like, it depends who ults first. Yeah, whoever ults first loses. All
Right.
Because you just CC immune each other's ult.
I mean, but in
The
like a
moon
CC
will
immune ult
purify
battle,
this
do you think
land.
that wouldn't Ishtar come out on the better end there? Cthulhu locked in.
Morgan
Okay.
jungle.
Yeah,
That's
how about you try to? I'm gonna have you break down where we think everyone's
So
going.
Hades is obviously mid.
Okay.
Morgan is your jungler. Cthulhu solo. Jorm support.
I hate it.
I think the only other god in that team go. All right.
We get the picks and bans taken away early, and we get to see the real picks and bans. So, we do see a little insight onto this. Apti on this Cthulhu, Pro on the Morgan. So, I think it's an
Hades.
Ishtar jungle. I think it's an Ishtar
Yeah,
jungle,
Ishtar jungle, unless they haven't swapped.
unless they roll swapped. Like, but what are the upsides of this right top? Because
I'm gonna wait till the game loads and see who's actually playing what. Hold on.
No,
This is okay. They did. It's Ishtar jungle.
it is an Ishtar jungle,
Unless
so
they put Crow in jungle.
that is a possibility. But it could also be a possibility that this really is an Ishtar jungle, and every lane that we get
I
to
think they
see
put
is
Crow
matched.
in the jungle. I think they put the Crow in the jungle.
I would much rather see a Morgan jungle than a Ishtar jungle. I do agree with you there. I would also much rather not see Yorm in this game, and yet that is what I'm staring at. So I can't really say whether or not what should happen and what will happen. Let's talk about this left side of draft a bit. It's pretty uniform, pretty standard.
No,
What is this not? Compared to right side drafts?
Okay, compared to right side, yes, but the gods. I like the Tsukiyomi pick, considering what was left up there. Ishtar had already been picked. I think Tsukiyomi's really good into Ishtar.
Also, Gary having a console moment here, so...
Gary's on console.
Well, it's a console moment, though. You don't have to be on console.
Straight up PC.
Bubble, this is why I don't like you. Okay? You annoy me sometimes. So, Ishtar, we see an immediate POW. So this is an Ishtar ADC, it looks like. But we will see. Yeah, so Crow picking up the jungle starter on him. So it is a role swap. And
yeah, Crow said I'm not losing game 2.
Going back to jungle, his little home. So Gilded Arrow coming out from the Yorm. I believe this is a Yorm support.
Yes.
So I don't know. This
That is also the only god that Apti plays support too.
Exactly. So I'm like, this is really a game where it's like, who's going what. Also, let's touch on the stuff I do know. This Achilles build, I don't like. I think that having an axe into Blackthorn, please build a Blackthorn. You want to build. No, it's a Solator still, but I think Achilles uses that Blackthorn so much better. I think he's able to use that passive and able to brawl a lot more in this lane, especially going into a Cthulhu. We do see the Cthulhu in this lane. So I think that with that, it's really a mistake not going that Blackthorn and getting the Solator instead. But both junglers going for the red to speed start. So we should see both junglers at this totem. Talk to me a little bit about this Yorm build. What is it going to do in these early lanes? Or these early levels?
Clear the wave and hopefully solo someone at level 2.
Do you think that Deathly is going to be able to solo someone?
No, because he's dueling.
So we see wave pressure come out for the Chaos side, as much of what we expected. And we currently see the Artemis knockup dashing off the mark.
That.
We see a good poke taken out onto Gary, but once again, if that dash hits, I think that's the first blood right there. Bishop getting hard up here. Morgan to
Blink in from the Tsukiyomi.
Yeah, that Suki blink is so good, and I'm happy dies.
Happy
dies.
He stinks. You can smell him from here.
Autos just not quite on the mark yet, and Appy does end up dying to Bishop, but now they just need to get out. Crow's at full HP. They cannot fight Crow here. We see Bishop start to regen a bit. Totem not going down for either team yet. And overall, first blood goes to the side of the Order side. Mid lane scuffle comes out right afterwards, but it's the same lane matchup again. The Huang 80s. So
Duo coming out though.
But good damage actually onto Huang here, and Crow is here.
You want good die here.
That's...
He's a... Crow,
okay.
don't come on, Crow. Come on, Crow.
No abilities up still. And right now, this Chaos side is doing such a better job at just exhibiting pressure in these lanes, being able to use this Yorm in order to immediately take back like all lane pressure due to this Gilded start. But it's a double-edged sword now. You kind of have to really start to snowball this game out of control, because
well, that's how we played last game. Played Ares. It worked out.
Yeah.
That's the way you want to play. Keep trying it.
When do you think the cutoff for when this Yorm stops doing stuff? What like at what minute of the game does 5? So yep. Realistically, the Yorm only has a few more minutes left in the sun.
Yeah, like he's just a mock of one at that point.
Really good damage taken out onto Gary. Do we see
This could
first?
Be a kill.
I almost said first blood. Do we see another kill here? But no, this unfortunately not able to do enough damage. Proxying his own ADC. That's a strat right there. But this Ishtar able to just get that little bit of poke due to those ranged auto attacks on the third former for one. And overall, we see not a whole lot happen after that. Crow showing presence over here, but
I think this jungler got spotted out, and that means that Tsukuyomi should be invading their stuff.
Tsukuyomi's pathing up like he should be about to do that there, but pass towards the totem instead. Looking to get more of that global gold than that denying farm. Crow on oracles instead, going to sweep the jungle through that way. Who really should be doing more in this early game? This Morgan or the Tsukuyomi?
Tsukuyomi by far. It's mage jungles always take a while to get online. Especially in the Morgan where you need 2 or 3 items to really be like a kill threat.
Yeah, but I think that this Yorm is able to with the horrific as well, going into the what looks to be a brand cross. I think this Yorm is gonna have like a really insane kill pressure over this Artemis. But how do you think the Yorm matches up into elsewhere in lanes? This Achilles, this Yu Huang, okay.
Say he does his job. I mean, you can't really dump a bunch of resources into a support Yorm or you're just gonna lose a fight. He's just not that valuable of a chess piece. It's like you sacrifice your queen for a pawn, dog. You're just not worth it.
Yeah, but do you think that you do have to dump a whole lot of resources into this Yorm? And we see a little scuffle coming out in duo side. Tremble comes out, doing a lot of damage to this Ganesh. Horrific does come out. You see this Ganesh slowly whittle down the HP, and that results in the kill for this Chaos side. And he's not done. He's going in. First one's off the mark. Second one's also off the mark. Not treating me well.
ADC should be in here. I don't know why the ADC has not walked up.
Yeah, the ADC. Dreadful Doctor just kind of leaving Deathly out to dry there. I think that if he follows up with him and trusts the Yorm a bit more, I think that's a double kill for that duo lane, even if you have to sacrifice your Yorm for it. But instead, that's just a 1-for-1 trade. We see a little scuffle come out here in the solo side, just fighting to fight. Bishop does have a level lead though after that first blood, so still having a little bit more levels. But in terms of item, Apti does finish off the Warlocks first. 3 a little bit off the mark, and we see the Morgan pathing in for a gank. Bishop is so knockup is good. Gun is out, ult out. The Tsukuyomi transform.
Huge Tsukuyomi transform.
The ult. Really good ult. Ult to Tsukuyomi. Make sure he doesn't go like flying into tower. And that's a dead Tsukuyomi as well. That's a 2-for-0 for this Chaos side. And
Tsukuyomi misplay there.
Yeah, I don't know if you if you walk up there, because you know after he transformed into you that's the dead Achilles there. There's no point in trying to help save him, and now this Yorm gets to lay waste to the Tsukuyomi back camps, and I think that now this Yorm should be starting to teeter off just a little bit more. We're getting to that 6 minutes in where people are going to start having enough health to live the Yorm insta-burst from Gilded. So I'm really excited to see how the Yorm develops his team fights when he's going this more aggressive, damage-oriented build.
This has been a game full of mistakes, and teams capitalizing on each mistake. Bishop too far up, Tsukuyomi going in, and then on the other side you have duo lane where this Ishtar didn't follow up on the door.
See the Tremble going off onto Natosa. Natosa getting out. Tsukuyomi stun is good. We see a little bit of lockdown for this Yorm, but hasn't lost a whole lot of HP yet. Naka is good onto Natosa, but this Yorm is so out of position now. Hades just a little farther out, and Yorm able to ult out, and that's the end of that engagement. It looks like maybe not.
Noodle comes back in.
Noodle does go back in, but he's still safe behind that wall. That's the power of Yorm, I guess, because if he doesn't like an engagement, he can just leave if they don't burst him down a whole lot. But I think towards his mid to late game, that Yu Huang is not going to have a whole lot of issue bursting him down if he still builds damage.
Oh, the fight breaks out ADC.
Little scuffle. Yeah, so much damage coming out from that shotgun.
Nice
Good
dodge.
dash.
If that
Good
dodge.
dash. Oh, that is such a cool Ishtar dash. It looks so cool.
Morgan coming in for a ganker ranker.
Yeah, especially because this Artemis doesn't
This
have
should be a
ult.
dead Artemis. I don't know why she walked back up. But
Yeah, you don't.
Crow doing his best impression of a statue and not doing jack.
But even that, in even a little fight in that mid lane resulting in that Katie's death. But talk a little bit more that duo fight. I don't feel that Artemis should ever push up with the Ishtar knowing,
Ishtar
that
he knew Ishtar at all.
Yeah,
Crow
like-
getting caught here.
Crow gets caught, but I think it's a dead Crow if he's not able. He turns into the Cthulhu being able to turn the fight a little bit, and Toza's actually going to die for it. Maybe. Thank you. Okay, I did not want to be called a liar.
Oh, Crow Edgar Allan Poe, because he's never gonna die. It's nevermore.
I don't like that. Okay. Anyways, so how does that?
To be getting soloed here?
Apti? No, both solo laners are in that yellow. They're just they're fighting the
They're kind
fight.
of yellowed it up.
Yeah. What turns that fight? Because was it the Cthulhu that turned the fight, or was it the rotation from the chaos
again,
side?
I'm gonna rag on this jungler, and I know I keep ragging on him. He goes this Transcendence build right off the bat, which is fine on Tsukiyomi, but you have to know you cannot be fighting. You need that stacked. And now he's gonna go one of my least favorite jungle items in the game, Soul Eater.
Soul Eater. And especially with that Soul Eater nerf, increasing it to 100 stacks. I'm actually creeping up on Tsukiyomi, but he's aware of it.
Looking at solo, making sure this guy won't get drafted by soloing the Tsukiyomi at his own speed.
Speed buff, but he does so much damage, and now he's not even able to go onto this side of the jungle. And Crow and Death is just bullying him, and honestly, I don't even think that's a bad play. Just making it so that this Tsukiyomi is a non-factor. Alright, we see a lot of backup coming in for this
Crow and
chaos side.
Crow and Deathly should do like one
Should be a 3v3 little scuffle around this blue buff now. Bishop on Apti, but we see this wraparound from the order side. That is such good damage coming out from Mentosa. Dummy pillows get dropped, and now Chaos side is on the run. Crow knocked up in execute range now. We see a shield bash come out, and Crow should be dead here. Tsukiyomi ult is good, and now this Cthulhu has to be on the run. The loot comes out, stun comes out. It's the Tsukiyomi solo. Apti turns, but order side is just leaving the Tsukiyomi out to dry, going to Pyromancer.
Oh, you can't really peel on Cthulhu. So
yeah. Which, who won that engagement?
Well, it's definitely on the blue side here because they're about to grab Pyromancer.
Pyromancer, but say we erased the Pyromancer there. Who would have won that engagement? Would it have been?
So you would rather have a 2-for-1 or a 1-for-2? I'd say the 2-for-1.
That is a good point, but it's still this Tsukiyomi's not quite back into the game. Aw, Gary, you can't be doing that. You can't go from styling last game to getting styled on.
You can't even push this. Streak inting again.
Don't know what happened there. It looked to be around Harpies. Yeah, Harpies.
Around, mid pocket.
But we see the Bancroft going into what I assume is a Manticore spikes. Does York proc the spikes very well? I think he procs it off.
You knock people up with your ult. You knock people up with your 3. You proc it a couple times.
But I think my only issue with that is you're not quite able to pick up the spike turrets. You're not really. But it's going to be 3% of your max HP.
And you're kind of only using it for your OG combo 3 and the rest of combo.
Okay. But we see a little proxy coming out from Apti, a little scuffle about it. I think if Bishop stays fighting this, then he's gonna lose his tower. Tsukiyomi looking to rotate over, trying to secure this blue buff. But honestly, that should be this Achilles tier 1 tower. And even I think Cthulhu even confirms the buff. Yeah. He takes that buffy. He is miles away. We see the Cthulhu turn onto this Tsukiyomi. The army pillars do get dropped, but it's just too little too late. This Cthulhu is just able to run the game. Good silence. Really good silence. That silence was actually so sick. We see, but another fight breaking out down in Gold Fury. Red team picking up Gold Fury. Tsukiyomi last mark hits. Stun comes out, and I think that's a dead Artemis right there. Not a whole lot to be able to do. Gary trying to turn, dude, make the best what he can. Bro getting low.
Nice.
Yvonne is huge. Natosa
Now
do
get
fall.
out of dodge.
And then we see Natosa getting turned on now. Definitely diving tower. And Dreadful Doctor just cleaning that one up.
Ganesh time, baby.
The Ganesh is not a whole lot Ganesh to do here. So we see a lot happen in the fight. 2 for 2. Gold Fury does go down for this Chaos side. Now something I really want to highlight. Gary does an excellent job of stalling that fight out a bit. Because if Gary dies a lot, like, any quicker, I don't think Natosa is able to get that ult off. So props to Gary for stalling out, but Natosa comes up huge in that fight off of that Yupong ult. What went right, what went wrong for both sides in these fights, Bubble?
Well, what went wrong was somehow after he gets a kill on the right side of the map with 3 of the women, just leads to a free Gold Fury, and while I think the red team just overextended and got a couple picks off that, but that's definitely a win for the red team.
I think that if I'm this order side, I really need to just start getting this gold back somehow, and it's definitely not going to be due to Bishop getting caught out here. Tier 1 tower very low. Not able to see much because of the stream.
Doing his best corpse impression.
Dying on this left side of the map. Bishop able to get out, sending the ult. Cthulhu ult also comes out. So not a whole lot happening in that soul lane still. Just kind of ult for ult. And right now, there's kind of not a whole lot to fight over. You know, flowers maybe, or crabs, my bad. Bees come out from Gary though. Just, he doesn't have to give up ult. He doesn't, Dreadful Doctor doesn't have to give up ult for it, and that's so worth it for him. And yeah, like
he should though, everyone's on the map.
Talk to me about this Ishtar build. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I was about to mention that. I don't like it.
You see this very crit attack speed Devos build, like kind of like what this Stingray should have been building last game. But Artemis, oh no, that's not Artemis rotation. Crow turns into the Artemis, and we see that he'll go down. Tier 1 tower falls down, but such good damage. Crow's damage is insane, but Natosa cleans that one up. Natosa's on fire.
Like Ganesh should pay for the sins of the rest of them, and he's gonna die here.
But
this Hades turns around.
Right now, this Hades is not looking at it. He's looking at Natosa, and this Ganesh still will die. Should die. Yeah, the Yorm picks that one up.
Pyro.
Pyro did just come back up. But Natosa being kind of the, you know, the big. Yeah, definitely. This is your way back into the. You have Natosa coming into these fights a little late, but as fast as they possibly can, and being able to just really get a pick or two. Get that valuable pick to make sure that it's not just a total loss. Good damage coming out from Natosa. Yeah, the dash is already out. If he's in range of this Hades, so just in range, but beats come out, but he's already out of it. Definitely dies the Pyromancer. It's just in. Pyromancer has a better KD than the Hades at the moment. But
actually, Pyromancer's like 1 and 2.
1 and
so
2.
He's got a better KD than
but 0 and 2. But 0 and 2. So, talk to me a little bit about this Tsukiyomi build. We see the Hydras come out now. Do you think this should have been a flat pin item, or should it have been something else?
The Tsukiyomi goal in a fight is to kill, get as much damage as possible off. And when you're not doing that, you're just poking. I think that you want the flat pin. I guess the Hydra's good on Tsukiyomi again. I just, like, this jungler has yet to build a flat pin item in both games. Those items are really good right now. You see Like a lot of SPL games use three maces come out, like,
Mhm.
but like, and one of them's being Titan's Bane, so I guess But like, it's just I just don't like Soul Eater in the jungle, and I just think that you should build Flatfoot. Also, more interestingly, can you peek at his second relic there?
That is an Ankh actually. So no Beats Aegis coming out from Tsukiyomi, which is really peculiar. I think Beats Aegis is kind of like that staple relics for Tsukiyomi because it doesn't really have a whole issue initiating, but Pause comes out.
Anything your beads Aegis. What are you gonna beads? Hades Silence, Morgan Stun,
Hades
Cthulhu
ult.
knockup, Hades ult, Jorm knockup, Ishtar stun, Ishtar. Like
There's
they
a
don't have
lot of
any
beads.
CC. They don't have any. Don't worry.
My
about
bad. I'm sorry. But
this Ankh for the
Hades
Hades,
and Cthulhu, but I don't think that's your answer to it.
especially when your Ganesh hasn't built a second relic yet. Like,
But speaking of builds, though, I really like Apti's build on this Cthulhu so far. Really abusing those 2 earrings, which are becoming such a big presence right now. If we could take a look at the build, Sypha, cough cough. Thank you. Okay. We see Manicores and Fabless come out. Yeah, it's I think it's a very good build. Natosa. Crow, don't do it.
This.
Crow, come on, Crow. No, yeah, shake your head in shame, Sypha.
Crow,
Shake your head in shame.
Crow, you get
Shake
the
your...
stinky award if you do this, Crow. Don't be
Yeah,
stinky.
we are roasting Crow if he does this. It was
Crow,
an
you're gonna
AF.
be under a magnifying glass for the rest of this game if you kill Natosa.
Yeah, if you kill Natosa here, Crow, you're officially not invited to my birthday party.
You see now that.
Okay.
I think you let Natosa out. Alright,
Okay,
Crow,
cool. So he's invited to the birthday. Okay.
But Ganesh dies at the barbecue. What happened?
I think he was just out of position there. I think he was already way too far up, and possibly the Hades was already bursting him down. Red team does secure the primal, but this Cthulhu is not done yet. They still have the Morgan ult, so they can even do another one afterwards. But I don't even think they'll need it. Just so much damage and utility out of this Cthulhu. After you really showing why he's not allowed to have this god.
Blue team, their elephant, like many circus animals, dies a very horrible death, and then Tsukiyomi, the ringleader, gets arrested.
Natosa out of position, just way too far up. Especially knowing that they're
in. Kill you this time. He doesn't have to let you out, but it looks like he's gonna survive this.
No, I think Crow is still fearful of not getting invited to the birthday party.
What type of cakes do these?
I'm really a cookie dough ice cream kind of cake person, but fire started up for this chaos side. Thank you. I agree with it.
You're also getting zoned out by the noodle cat.
The noodle cat, the big noodle cat. What kind of cat is that? Anyway, Karmic Colors.
Huge Hades torment of pillars. Oh, red team grabs the fire.
Red team secures their own fire giant, but
Bishop should be able to Bishop on.
No, you missed the Hades, and the Hades can still die. No, Hades is okay. Hades finally falls down, but there's so much damage coming out onto this front line that
Blue team, you still win this. Have faith, young lads.
Dreadful Doctor managed to pick up the elephant. Dash comes out to stop the Tsukiyomi also falls down. But the Ishtar is shredding people. We see Ishtar standing still.
Alright, Bishop!
Bishop able to secure it, but this Yorm is going to clean it up.
Checkmate, Bishop has gone down, but we see it doing. What is Apti doing over here? Run, Gary! There's no reason for it.
Yeah, no, Gary just cannot be here. This is everything that could possibly go wrong for...
I wouldn't say that.
Okay, not everything. You managed to get the backline fire off.
You got all the fire off the carries.
Yeah.
Jorm and Cthulhu are the only ones who still have it.
Right, but that fight is so messy. The fact that this Hades lives for so long is...
Yeah, that's all on Bishop too. You can't be...
to quote the best Gary, my sometimes co-caster, it's criminal. It's absolutely... It should just not be happening. You need to call the police or something for it. And I think because of that,
the best carry right now is getting styled on, so I don't think he would even say that.
I think that this is just the worst it could possibly be at the moment. It's such a... This is just... And the Tsukuyomi's getting caught out at his speed buff. This is... They're running... It's 7k gold lead. They're just running the game at this point.
Yeah, eventually you get picked enough, you're gonna get past the point of no return.
Yeah,
Hey.
honestly, Apti having 2 good games. Doesn't matter what team Apti's on. He's showing up for it. And also Dreadful Doctor, again, putting in a solid performance, just in a different role this time on this ADC instead of the jungle. 7k gold lead.
So I expected him to do well.
Oh yeah.
Oh, caught the dash!
That-
Just be a Gary solo kill.
Come on, Gary. Come on, Gary. Yeah. All right, Gary and gets the solo
You just
kill
got
there.
casting first, bro. Get out.
Yeah, no, Gary, you gotta... Alright, so we see this red team pick up the Pyromancer, and is Bishop able to do a whole lot? Not really. Pyromancer does go the way of the red team, and we see a grouping of this order side for, I think, the first time this whole game. Maybe if Artemis joins up, we can see our first real 5v5. In a 5v5, which comp are you taking?
Double Cthulhu, Jorm, Hades, Pillar comp.
Okay. So, do you think that this left team should be more focused on, grabbing these sneaky picks with the Tsukuyomi and Achilles, or what's order side?
I'll be honest with you, I don't know how this blue team ever wins a straight 5v5. Double Cthulhu, Hades, Pillar is just really hard to overcome. I don't think they have enough shred between all of them to kill a double Cthulhu. Like, Artemis will shred one, but the other one's just gonna kill her. Like, I think that your win condition here is to try to pick somebody. Like, find this Morgan out early and kill her.
Right. So, we see this Chaos side posturing towards Gary. Gary is in a very bad spot here, but tier 2 tower saving him for now. We see the Achilles teleporting in, but we start to see a start of the fight at the top end of the screen. We see Pro getting deleted, and now we see Dr. Dreadful trying to do a little bit of damage. Knock him out of Yorm is good, gets Yuwong up in the air. After into Cthulhu, you don't have a double Cthulhu this fight. Crow dies with ult, and so now this Cthulhu is running down this Tsukuyomi. The Artemis ult is good, and the Yuwong is just, this fight is coming up rather even at the moment, but leaning towards the side of the blue team. Yuwong finally be able to participate in the fight. The Yorm still just being such a nuisance to poor Natosa over here, but Apti's being shredded at the moment, and
Apti should die here.
Apti should be he's a dead man walking at the moment. But we see Apti.
Huge kill.
Apti falls, giving Natosa the shutdown bonus, and now this Chaos side is on the retreat. Actually, my correction. Hades is on the retreat. Deathly is in. So Deathly gets stunned, but able to walk away.
I think that really shows you the issue with the Jorm support. Like,
Hades wrapping around. Watch Hades. Watch Hades.
Hades.
So okay, nothing happens. Preemptive.
I think it just shows you the issue with Jorm support. He does his job there, but I think the other team having their Ganesh in the fight, doing like utility work, just helps immensely. While Jorm eventually has to let the Yuwong back into the fight, and Yuwong gets his damage off and everything.
Also, I think a big reason why that fight is so close is Crow getting picked so early. I think without that Morgan to use that double Cthulhu or that double Hades.
Remember what I said before that fight? Your win condition is to kill Crow early.
And well, we killed. So we get good damage on the Crow, forced into the Cthulhu ult, and
Crow turn on Crow, honestly.
Yeah, definitely. Crow's by himself. We see Dreadful Doctor thanks to the power of Spectator, but even that's such a good fight. Huge Garmin killers. So we see Crow go down and
just... They think they're in a minor league baseball game. Stop throwing.
We see last we talked about gold lead, it was 7k. We're down to 5k now, and now Border Side is the one starting up this Fire Giant this time around. Fire Giant.
Watch the back. You can't really pull this with a Hades sitting right here.
Hades comes in, good damage on the Gary. Gary gets blown up, and we still see Natosa just so low as well. Same with the Tsukuyomi, you've got to get out. This Cthulhu's running through your backline. Someone's got to kill Apti. And without Gary, you don't have that person. It's just the front line left for this order side, and it's a front line being front line, and this Hades is going to be the difference maker. Achilles managed to ult out, but that's just such an unfortunate fire giant
That's not
call
a
from this order side.
It's an awful call. Why would you call that with Hades Cthulhu sitting there? Like that. Like you have to know they're there. They walked over your ward. Like.
And now we see fire giant started up for this chaos side. Not a whole lot of burn, and the Achilles is here, but they're not wary of that yet. Achilles goes in, Stormonty, stunning the Yorm is good, but they don't care. He's just not a presence without this ult, and they really are just not respecting this Achilles presence. And honestly, good on them. I don't think this Achilles does much here. They get off the fire though at the Ganesh showing up. So, but we see a turn on the Bishop now. Jarmic Pillars do get the Achilles out, but Achilles just, you know, Achilles sending his Ganesh to die.
You prevented fire from being taken. You just can't let them re-pull it right here.
So, the Achilles, they're not really respecting the Achilles, but as soon as Ganesh shows up, that's when they dropped it. But Chaos side still grabbing this Pyromancer as the consolation they would, but they're starting up fire again, looking, but now it's a lot more riskier because this Yufong is up. There's steal potential here, and this Yufong
does not have the best farm. They should be good.
Red team does secure the fire giant. I thought you were about to curse.
Should die.
Thought you were about to curse this poor Chaos side, but the chase on Natosa is still happening. Cthulhu up into the big form now. Natosa just falls, and Gary...
With no Artemis there, Cthulhu's just gonna do whatever he wants.
Yeah, there's just not a whole lot of grouping coming out from this order side, and it's because they get picked
Don't go in!
No, this is the worst time. Worst time. Get out. Good by retreating. You should never really ult there at all. You know, fire on all five. And
they didn't just 5-man group up and kill your ass.
Really, if I'm that Chaos side, I'm huddling together at that Tsukiyomi ult.
I'm trying to get hit by the CPU at that point.
I am becoming a temporary hitbox when I see that Tsukiyomi ult happen, so I can get hit as much as possible. But Gold Fury started up for this Chaos side, and so...
That's the new Jogger Gold Fury, too.
That is, so that takes away a lot of this defense potential from this order side. How much do you think that Draugr Gold Fury would have been able to do for this order side?
No one has ever talked about the Draugr Gold Fury. Tells you how good everyone thinks it is.
Amazing. Amazing. So, you know, best Gold Fury in the game, cracked. Gonna see him there.
I wish it wasn't in the game just because Only Fury listens.
Alright, we see Artemis ult
another
come up, but the enemy Artemis ult, okay, the enemy Artemis ult, the Crow Artemis ult comes up, hits 4, not a whole lot of exchange on it. Honestly, I think that's Crow just saying, nice Artemis ult loser.
That's a win for blue side there.
Yeah, you take away the double Cthulhu, and right now they're just kind of taking away a lot of these towers. If I'm gonna be optimally tower sweeping, I would start on the solo side and then work my way to duo, but still tower sweep play, perfect play here. Yeah, there's not a whole lot to get here. You've already grabbed all the objectives, and now it's just kind of blue team watching their 2 towers fall. But if they aggress on this Phoenix, they have to defend it. And how is blue team on defending the siege?
Not very good. Double Cthulhu ignores any peel. Jorm ignores any peel. Hades wants you to hit him.
Right. We see the Yorm won't come out though. We see they were looking to defend this tier 2 tower. The Appi's up into the big form, running down Natosa. Natosa's just not able to play.
Artemis isn't in position to kill him. There we go, finally turning on.
There we go. Appi's finally being shredded, but it's just so it's too little, too late. That's the thing. Gary needs to be turning.
No, Gary just runs the fountain.
Just something needs to stop these 2 Cthulhu, because it took so long for the first Cthulhu to die. So when you see another one, that's just, you just never want to see it. But they look towards this.
Huge damage on this Hades.
Yeah, just so much damage.
Huge play by the
And
Natosa
unfortunately,
needs to hit those. The crow should die here.
Rose just, I think this is the
Dead in
problem
air.
with. I think this is the problem for this, or a Chaos side draft is when any of their damage dealers are in trouble, their front line can't really peel for them. They just kind of put their hands up and say, "Not my issue."
Yeah, but is that really an issue when you get Phoenix and get like a couple picks anyways? And like it's not, you don't really need to peel with double Cthulhu, Jorm, Hades. Like, yeah, it sucks for your Ishtar, but you should win the fight by then.
Which I think Dreadful Doctor has been doing such a good job at staying in a position where he's still able to do a lot of the damage that he needs to do, being able to be alone in that back line and still be able to administer any damage he can be able to shred the Phoenix still with the space that's being given to him by Apti, Crow, and Deathly on these frontline characters as the double Cthulhu and the Yorm. But now we see the EFG starting to spawn first EFG of the game. With solo side Phoenix being taken instead of duo side, do you think that this order side is going to be able to set up a really good defense for this, or is this going to be a EFG that they're going to... Never mind, before I even talk about that, Bishop teleports into 4 and is now on the retreat. Starfight it up. Nocturne comes up. Pyro is down. Fu ult is out. Yu Huang ult is also out. We see the Cthulhu once again running at Natosa. Pace is on. We see Natosa at half HP. Deathly is in. Huge Ishtar ult comes out. Another Cthulhu goes up, and then we see Bishop coming out with the ult. We just see a huge skirmish. So many low health bars on this Chaos side. They're doing so much damage. Tsukiyomi happens to fall down for the first pick of this fight.
Yu Wang needs to be closer in this fight. He cannot be this far back.
And with that, that's the fight over with so many low
Gary's
HP
playing
bars.
compared to everyone else.
It's Gary. So much damage gets thrown out in the middle of that fight, just shredding both Cthulhus down so much. And I think that right there is Gary realizing, oh wait, I'm a late game Artemis. I can do so much damage here. And I think if the backline of this team plays a little bit closer together at the end of the fight, then I think this could have been a huge fight for this order side to get back in. But for every time that a fight goes neutrally for this order side, I think that is a win fight. Because in that fight, you don't really lose much of value. You lose the Tsukiyomi, who is already not worth a whole lot, but EFG started up for this Chaos side and still down in memory. It's not feeling great. There needs to be some kind of steal potential. At 5% HP, Red Team does secure the Fire Giant, and Natosa is so far up, and so is Gary, but Natosa is just getting ran at this entire game. And we see a little huddle around this little pocket, the death pocket. But like a really bad hot pocket, that's what that pocket is. And we see a knockup onto... Wow, that's just... That's the game right there. That, like, Crow just able to do so much. Same with... Apti really is the MVP of this game. Being able to just deny... Who do you think is the MVP then, as we're watching this Chaos side?
Chaos. He didn't take any damage.
So we see this Titan starting to fall, shreds the Titan, you know, guys unfortunately dying, and say whatever. He dies. Gary is standing by DMs, and that's the game.
That's the game.
That's the game. Apti and Dreadful Doctor, 2-0 in prospects today, and everyone else either 0-2 or 1-1. But as you were saying, who's the MVP of that game for you then? Since we don't want to give it to Apti 2 games in a row.
I think the MVP of the game was definitely Apti. Just by picking the Cthulhu and again
the ego on him. I don't want to deal with that.
I think that he ran the game a little bit.
Yeah, I think, all jokes aside, Apti was able to have such an amazing presence in these fights, just making it so Natosa, who is kind of the saving grace for this team, was no longer able to play. I think from 20 minutes on, I don't think Natosa got to stand with their team once, because this Cthulhu would just be running at poor Natosa, and Natosa has to be on the retreat. So, and therefore, the whole fight's on the retreat because they're trying to peel the Cthulhu off Natosa, which you're not able to do, and therefore the fight's being dragged along, and it's kind of a hidden style run where no matter what, this Chaos side is always going to be at a better positioning because they're able to win the fight and then turn the objectives right there for them to take. Overall, Chaos just playing their comp very well. Apti, unfortunately, playing very well in both games. And what are your thoughts on what Order side did right? What did they do wrong? Because we know we know they did quite a bit wrong, but what were the little things they did right?
Well, you can't let you need more early pressure. It breaks down to this again. You can't really let Cthulhu Morgan hit late game, especially in Morgan jungle. So you have to be out pressuring them. But again, this jungler does not go an early pressure build, nor does he pick an early pressure god. Like it's just that it just happens that way. And I think that you really need to out pressure this Cthulhu Morgan comp, or you're just gonna lose at 30 minutes. It's just how it happens.
Even at like 5-10 minutes, I just didn't feel like the Tsukiyomi was putting any pressure onto this Morgan, who should be waiting so much longer to be getting active in these fights because the Cthulhu isn't at full build, and her best transform is literally the Tsukiyomi. And we saw so many fights where Ro was able to go in on the Tsukiyomi and change a fight, but we never saw that from Vid. So I was really disappointed that I didn't get to see a lot more from him because he was in such a... His pick made it so he was in a position to do that, but his build was not. So I think if he goes for, like you said, that earlier game build, that he'll be able to do so much more for the the mid game, where that's where they needed to shut down this Morgan Cthulhu. But with that, thank you for tuning into Prospects for Amazon Division, and this has been Bubble. Hi, say bye, Bubble.
No.
Okay, Bubble doesn't say bye, but I've been Charlie, and I hope you have an amazing night, morning, or whatever you are, or wherever you are, and I hope that everything goes well. See ya.